Good morning. We will call this meeting of the Bucks County Board of Commissioners, January 17th, 2024 meeting to order. I'd like to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance and ask our Director of Veteran Services, Matt Allen, who is also a Chief Petty Officer in the Navy, to lead us.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I just wanted to take a moment. I probably should have done this at the last meeting, but maybe it's better here. We have some new people in our row office list, so I don't know if you can camera over there, but if you could each just say your name and the row office you represent. Oh, yeah, and use the microphone.
Good morning. Jennifer Shorn with the District Attorney's Office. Thank you, Commissioners.
Good morning. Eileen Hartnett, I'll be our Clerk of Courts.
Yes. Good morning. I'm Patty Campy. I'm the coroner.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Chris Ballerini, Treasurer.
Thank you, everybody. The next thing we will have is our employee recognition, and we have actually 6 employees, and I only think there is one here today, so I will list their names, and then we'll introduce the other person who's here. These are all 20-year employees, and we congratulate them. Christopher E. Tomlinson from Consumer Affairs, Rebecca M. Kelly from the Courts and Youth Center, Anthony, and I hope I don't do this too poorly, Martinick from the Department of Corrections, Silvana Sina from Neshaminy Manor, and Nicole A. Trammell from Domestic Relations. But today with us, we have Emily A. Ann Rearick from the Courts Judicial. Emily, are you here? We'd like you to come on up and you don't have to talk, but if there's something like you, oh, she's saying no, okay. But we congratulate you on 20 years. Thank you. This is your big chance, but thank you very much. Thank you. And today we will, as we try to do at least once a year, is to recognize Human Trafficking Awareness Month. Commissioner Harvey has the proclamation for that, and today with us we also have Julie Duggery from NOVA and representing the Bucks County Coalition Against Trafficking, and Elise Hersta. So if you'd like to begin with the
Sure, yeah. Whereas human trafficking is a borderless crime that exploits the most vulnerable among us and weakens the health and well-being of individuals, families, and communities. And whereas more than 20 years since the passing of the Trafficking Victims Protection Act, human trafficking still exists, including the forced or fraudulent recruitment, harboring, or transportation of people for labor or commercial sex. And whereas, according to the National Human Trafficking Hotline, more than 50,000 signals were received by the hotline in 2021, and more than 13,000 of them were from victims or survivors of human trafficking. And whereas in Pennsylvania, more than 1,000 signals were received by the hotline with 192 cases identified. And whereas human trafficking can be prevented by building individual, community, and societal understanding, reducing social inequities, and addressing the conditions that contribute to exploitation. And whereas the Bucks Coalition Against Human Trafficking, a project of NOVA, is dedicated to ensuring anyone impacted by human trafficking in the Bucks County area can receive services and support. Now, therefore, do we, the Board of Commissioners of Bucks County, hereby proclaim January 2024 as Human Trafficking Awareness Month throughout the County of Bucks. In doing so, we offer our support to the Bucks Coalition Against Human Trafficking and NOVA and its mission to eradicate human trafficking within our communities and enhance human dignity for all. We wish the Coalition continued success.
Thank you, and thank you for the work you do. I'm thinking that Elise Hersta and Julie Duggery would like to speak for a couple minutes about BCAT. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Elise Hoekstra, and I'm the organizer of the Bucks Coalition Against Trafficking, or as we call BCAT. Joining me today are BCAT's co-chairs, Karen Kutzner and Julie Duggery, and I also want to recognize the other members of the BCAT Steering Committee who are joining us today. BCAT was founded by NOVA here in Bucks County 11 years ago when more cases of human trafficking were being detected around the county. Since then, NOVA and BCAT have aimed to provide trauma-informed services to survivors and victims here in Bucks County. Compassionate individuals and committed communities like Bucks County are the most powerful resource there is to prevent and reduce human trafficking. But to leverage power and change, you need the best possible information. This past year, BCAT has focused on awareness and training as a community response to help prevent trafficking. Together, BCAT conducted trainings throughout 2023, training over 500 community members and professionals. Effective public awareness and outreach efforts can lead to the detection of trafficking cases, build public support for governments and communities to act, and ultimately help prevent human trafficking. The trainings that we offer teach individuals what human trafficking is, how it happens, and how you can be part of the solution. While trafficking and prevention is vital in the fight against trafficking, prevention efforts consist of so much more. It's important to acknowledge the community and multidisciplinary response that's needed in order to combat human trafficking. First, BCAT wants to acknowledge the momentous work done by our law enforcement and prosecution team here at the Bucks County DA's office in their efforts to investigate and prosecute cases throughout the county. Alongside law enforcement, our partners at Children and Youth Services play a huge role in detecting, reporting, and providing services to child cases here in Bucks. Second, I wanted to recognize our dedicated shelters and safe housing programs that serve survivors of trafficking and exploitation. The Well, run by Worthwhile Wear, and Haven House, which is supported by the YWCA. Both programs ensure that victims and survivors have safe and supportive communities to turn to and provide trauma-informed care. BCAT also relies heavily and collaborates with community businesses as well. An example of this is our partnership with Black Cat Tattoo Collective in Percy. Black Cat Collective has donated their time and services to cover up clients' tattoos that they have received from their traffickers. BCAT and NOVA are very appreciative of our partnership with Black Cat, and we hope to continue helping survivors to reclaim their bodies as their own. And finally, you do not need to be an expert to get involved in the fight against trafficking. Anyone can get involved by starting conversations and looking at the root causes. Chat with your friends and colleagues about what trafficking looks like and how it exists here. Parents can even start age-appropriate conversations with their children about body boundaries and healthy relationships. And while awareness and advocacy are important, it's the victims and survivors that we keep foremost in our minds. By sharing their voices, their stories, and their wisdom, we can guide policy, practice, and prevention. By elevating their experiences, we can help to raise awareness. Each of us has a role to play in ending human trafficking. Learn how to recognize the signs, join BCAT, or volunteer at a nonprofit that's working with victims or survivors, or simply get involved in the discussion. Thank you. And we have handouts in the back for anyone interested in learning more.
Thank you. Julie, did you want to speak?
I just would like to echo, along with Karen Kutzner, my co-chair, all the support that the commissioners have shown by recognizing human trafficking awareness. Our community partners, our partners in government are so important to us. We are really looking forward this year to even more changes. Recently, on January 11th, Attorney General Michelle Henry, our dear person from former DA from Bucks County, announced that she is establishing a standalone unit in the Attorney General's office that will address human trafficking. So Heather Castellanos is the Assistant Attorney General that will be working on that. In addition, Kathy Buckley at the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency announced a grant of upwards of about $250,000 to the Villanova Law Center that studies the Center for the Study of Sexual Exploitation, and they will be announcing some programs and services and collaboration all around the state. So it really is a promising year. We are overjoyed by these announcements, you know, from the state level, and we look forward to working with all of our partners and all of you in this fight. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we are, I think you're seeing so much happen because of all the work you have done in the advocacy that it takes a while, but everybody's paying attention. Would you all like to come up and take a picture with us, everybody from the coalition? Thank you. We're going to come over as far as you can. Thank you all. Need some more on this side. Thank you again for your work. You keep it. Thank you. Thank you. Our next item is something that is very close to all of our hearts and we're very proud of, and that's the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Bridge Program. And I'm going to ask our Director of Communications, Eric Nagy, to introduce this.
Good morning. Thank you, Commissioners. It's my honor today to talk about a project that has been ongoing now for, I guess, a little over a year and a half. As you'll see on the screens, some clips from and photos from our dedications that we've done. We were approached by Ed Preston, who's sitting behind me, and you'll hear from him in a bit, to figure out a way to honor the people who gave their lives in Vietnam. And through Commissioner Harvey, we were able to commit to dedicating the bridges that we have as a county in honor and in memory of those people who did not come home. In Bucks County, 136 Bucks Countyans were lost, and being able to dedicate these bridges in their name ensures that they will live forever. So it's a really awesome project that we've got to be a part of. It's a collaboration between the Department of Communications, Department of Veterans Affairs, and General Services. So I do want to make sure I give a shout out to George Hutt and General Services, who's done a really great job picking up the ball and running with this, making sure these bridges are ready to go, all the signage on them, and making arrangements to get his folks out and things set up. So we decided that a way to memorialize even further was to build a website that housed all of these bridges on them as they get done. So this will be a dynamic project. The address for the website that we are launching today is buckscounty.gov/memorialbridges. When you go on that website, which is on the slides, you'll see a demonstration that we actually have the GIS map of where the bridges are located. And you can click on each bridge and then learn something about the veteran that it is dedicated to. So looking down the road, we're trying to get QR codes actually put at the bridges so that if you're walking by or riding your bike by, as Ed will tell you he's going to do often, you're going to be able to use your smartphone and go to the QR address directly to the information about that veteran. So I just want to give a quick thanks for this project. The website and all the images you see in the video, those are folks from the Communications Department, Jim O'Malley, Charlotte Reese, Lauren Deal. And I also want to give a shout out to the Planning Commission, Evan Stone, Drew Highmark, John Capista for putting together the GIS map, which they did quickly and awesomely, and it's one of the many maps that they have put together for the county. But it's just a really nice visual to be able to see throughout the county where these bridges are located. Later on, I'm sure we'll hear from Commissioner Harvey, who gave the green light, snap the county into action to get these dedications put forth. We'll hear from Matt Allen, who took over as a Director of Veterans Affairs and has really taken this project and ran with it. So we are really happy to have him on board. But before I introduce Ed, I just want to say that if you have the opportunity, I say this as a son of a Vietnam veteran, if you have the opportunity to attend one of these dedications, it's really moving. It's probably the most moving thing that we do here, that I've been a part of anyway. People's stories are told and another generation gets to hear that story. They get to live on through those stories and their name gets to be on a bridge, so it'll be there forever. And then it's just kind of cool to see the folks who will come out for these dedications, be that a long-lost neighbor or a family friend or a family member from far away. And it's really neat, too. Some of these bridges we've dedicated, and you could see the property where the person grew up on from the bridge. So it's just a really neat program, and it's a great way that we've been able to honor our veterans. But none of this happens without Ed Preston from the Pennsylvania Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund, and he's the real driving force behind this. And so my job here was to introduce program overview, but really the person who can give you the nuts and bolts from the perspective of how this got going is Ed Preston. So Ed, please come up. Later we'll hear from Matt from Veterans Affairs, but thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, commissioners, and Happy New Year. I want to thank you all for having me here, and being able to unveil this website today is truly spectacular. Charlotte sent me a link to it late yesterday, and I was able to go through it really quickly, and it's really tremendous. The ability to honor a veteran is the highest, most profound thing I think we can do for a veteran. When a veteran steps into a recruiting office, he's not a veteran yet. He's just a guy like me or you who has a thought in his head or a dream maybe to serve his country. That's it, nothing more, nothing less. But in that process, he puts his name on a dotted line that says, I will, to whatever extent, protect you, me, all of us, up until taking his own life. And these bridges are that. These men, 136, 132 were killed in action, 4 still missing in action. They were those guys that put their name on the line and said, I will die for you. I will sacrifice my life so we can live here today. The legacy that they leave is that, nothing more. They don't have kids, no grandkids, none of those things. Property, house, business to pass on. The only thing they have to give, and they gave, was their name. So their legacy will live on through this program. Our whole idea was to recognize that veteran, that man. And in Bucks County, I say men because they are all men. No women were killed in Bucks County, thank God. But all 136 young, brave, heroic men that gave their life for us. The bridges seem so quaint when you go through them and you go by them. We go past them every day. But once that name is put on them, they take a whole different perspective, especially with a name now. And with this website, anybody who's just passing through Bucks County is a great place that people come and visit all year round, drive through the Covered Bridges tour, go through the bridges. They'll be able to see these names and go, hold on a minute, who was that man? They'll be able to see exactly who they are now. The website will give pictures, as you can see on the screen, but it also gives a bio of that man, what they did, how they did it. One of the things that is the hardest is being a Gold Star family, and that's someone who's lost a loved one, brother, sister, uncle, aunt in war. We have one Gold Star family here today. And their hardest effort, I believe, is being forgotten. That family being forgotten. That family member being forgotten. That serviceman being forgotten. Our job is to pass history down. Our job is to continue that legacy. This program allows us to do that. But it also allows the families to continue to heal because they know that there is a community that supports them and is there for them and cares for them and will not forget their loved ones. On the other side, it also helps the Vietnam veteran who's still with us today, who carries Vietnam with them every day. It's a shadow that they cannot leave. It will not leave them. These bridges are a reminder to them that their service and their sacrifice, even though 50 years later, is remembered, is important, and is not forgotten. Today, I'm so happy to be able to say, thanks to Bob Harvey and the commissioners, this will go on forever. We have 7 bridges on the docket for this year already that we've already started planning. I will also add that PennDOT has finally put signs up for the 3 that they didn't do 2 years ago. We're going to add that into the mix as well. So we have 10 bridges to dedicate this year to our fallen 136. So for them and for all our Vietnam veterans, I just want to say welcome home and thank you.
Thank you, Ed, for all you do. Thank you, commissioners. There were 58,220 U.S. soldiers killed in action in Vietnam. And like Ed and Eric said, there's 136 from Bucks County. Ed Preston had a vision, and to see that vision come to reality is amazing, especially for this cause to honor those service members that paid the ultimate sacrifice. These service members' valor echoes through time, resonating in the hearts of those who understand the profound cost of freedom. I was deployed in 2019 and came home in 2021, and I came home. These 136 did not come home, so it's an honor to be a part of these dedications. And thank you to George Hutt for creating the signs, sometimes in a week's notice, to the Public Relations Office, and scheduling conflicts. I know with the commissioners, it's difficult to coordinate everyone's schedules, but it's an honor to be a part of these dedications. So thank you, commissioners. Thank you, Ed, for your vision, and I look forward to the next 7 or 10 that we're doing this year. Thank you.
Thank you. I wanted to make sure that Commissioner Harvey made some comments, and we are all indebted to you for taking this on, so thank you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I've was raised in a family with my mother had 5 old brothers. All 5 served in the military. 1 in Korea, 2 in Vietnam, 2 in between those wars. My father served in the Army before Vietnam. 5 great uncles in World War II. Family members in American conflicts going back to the Revolution, actually. And so I was raised in a family that emphasized not just public service, but the value and how we should pay tribute to those who served and wore the colors of this country. So when we had when there was a dedication in Humeville of a PennDOT bridge a few years ago, I actually don't remember how long it was. I just remember that it was incredibly hot. And it was in summertime, and it went on for a pretty long ceremony that PennDOT did. And I was talking to Ed, and Ed mentioned how he had been working so hard to try and get this one bridge dedicated to I believe it was a Marine Private Candy, I think was his name, right? I said, well, how many veterans do we have who lost their lives or service members? He said 136. I said, well, it's pretty close to the number of bridges we have in that the county owns. We own slightly less than that, and it just seemed like it was, to me, a very simple thing to do, to start connecting our staff with Ed and all the resources he has. He has done the research. He has connected the families. He knows the bios. Oftentimes, it's just us looking at a bridge and saying, well, this one's just about to be, rededicated or reopened. It was going through some rehabilitation or reconstruction, and he tell Ed where it is. Ed is an avid cyclist, so he is all over this county, and so he's gone over all these bridges multiple times on his bike, and he said, I know where that bridge is. And he said, yeah, let me take a look. And he goes through his files, and he says, well, there was a veteran who grew up very close to that bridge. I think we can do this, let me start, reaching out to the family. And echoing the thanks to Matt Allen, to Eric Nagy, and our public information staff, George Hutt, Bernard Griggs, General Services. I'll give a shout out to my assistant, Steve Sufert, who also has been very helpful in this process. But the website, I think, is a tremendous addition to this. When I was looking at it, they sent me the original link as it was kind of being designed. It was I hadn't noticed, really, I hadn't paid attention to the fact that we've dedicated 6 bridges so far, as you'll see when it pops up on there. 2 in Lower Bucks, 2 in Central Bucks, 2 in Upper Bucks. And I hadn't realized that we had balanced it that way. It was sort of accidental, and obviously I want to make sure we keep doing that because we want to make sure that there's recognition all over this county for the work that was done and for the sacrifices made by these residents. So I appreciate the support of the other commissioners and other staff, Ms. McKevitt, and Law Department was looking into this to see originally just what does it take to dedicate a bridge? It's our bridge, so can we just name it? And they said, yeah, you can name it. You can do whatever you want, you know? So, because when you're a government, you always have to take a look at what the law says you're allowed to do. So I am very thankful, and it's very rewarding for me personally to be a small part of this, but thank you to those who do all the hard work, especially Ed. And as Eric said, you'll see in the photographs, we have a variety of honor guards who come out and represent their branch, represent the nation, police department honor guards, et cetera. It's certainly it's not hard to find people who want to come out for these ceremonies, and so we are looking forward to doing some more. There's the map that shows the 6 locations, and as you said, you can click on the little maps and you find out. You see pictures on the bottom of the men. You see their bio in the right-hand side, and you can kind of scroll through and see who they are and learn a little bit about them. So thank you to Public Information for putting that together and Planning Commission as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner DiGirolamo?
Yeah, just real quick, I just want to, again, thank Commissioner Harvey for taking this on. It makes me proud just to be a small part of this program. It's a great program, Matt. Thank you. Not only for this, but for what you and your staff do every day to help the veterans here in Bucks County, and to all our veterans, the men and women who have served, have fought courageously for our country, and unfortunately, those who have died. I mean, we owe you so much. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for what you've done, not only for Bucks County and our state, but for our country. God bless.
Thank you. I would just also add, if you're my age or older, you probably know somebody who was in Vietnam or was lost in Vietnam. So this is a very important and emotional program for all of us. But we've even had a child of a Vietnam veteran who has been able to maybe get some healing from this process. But I wanted to give a huge shout out to you, Ed, for doing that. Ed has spent hours on the phone with hurting families, helping them to just even think about having this bridge, and some are overwhelmed by the emotion they have held in all those years. I have maintained contact with 2 people who've been related to this, and I can't tell you the healing that Ed doing this has given them. So it's a little late, but it's never too late. So thank you very much. Thank you for your work. If you could come up, we'll do a picture. If you want to. Yeah. Eric, where are you?
Eric's hiding back here.
He's making. Eric? Thank you. Love you. Thank you. When is this? One more.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. Thank you, everyone. Moving to public comment, Beth Roth. And if you could just repeat your name and the township you represent.
Good morning.
Good morning. Beth Roth from Bedminster Township.
I represent a group of Bucks County citizens, taxpayers, who are very concerned about the issue of voter confidence. In a recent poll that was just released by CNN, 58% of the people in this country have mentioned that they have a lack of voter confidence, that there's no point in going to vote anymore. What's the point? And in our door knocking experience, we talked to a lot of people in Bucks County who like to echo those thoughts. So we're here to, I'm here today to just talk about voter confidence and how we can work with the commissioners and the Board of Elections to increase and improve voter confidence in Bucks County. First of all, I think you do a great job. And there are a lot of good things that we have to celebrate in Bucks County. But moving forward, I think there's more that we can do. And so I have a list. It's not in any particular order, and I'm just going to put it out there for today. So we have bloated voter rolls. We have, I want to talk about the possibility of hand counting the presidential election. I want to talk about the possibility of returning the mail-in ballots to the precincts for hand counting the presidential election. Do we have anything written about the roles and responsibilities of poll watchers? What is it that they're allowed to do, not do? Where can they go? They can't go, that type of thing. I can't find anything that's written, and when we train the poll watchers, we want to do a good job. The data from the automatic registration, those registrations that are coming through now through the DMV, does the county have a way of vetting those registrations to determine and make sure that those people that have registered to vote through the DMV are citizens, one, and citizens of Bucks County, two? I don't know if you have a process for checking that. When is the LNA testing happening? And do you also do hash testing? We have an issue with the signature verification in the poll pads, because when someone comes in and says, I'm Jane Doe, and I look them up on the poll pad, first of all, they show me no ID, so I don't really know if they're Jane Doe, one. And two, the signatures never, ever match. So I have no way of verifying that. When is the Board of Elections meetings?
Thank you very much. Thank you. Greg Price?
Thank you for your time here. I just wanted to speak about 3 of the resolutions from today's agenda, specifically number 3 with the Board of Elections, the contract with the Clear Ballot Group. Exactly 3 questions were exactly how was the Clear Ballot Group involved in pre-election ballot setup, election day activities, and post-election support for special and primary elections? What services do they provide post-election? From Resolution 9 for information technology, I'd like to ask what kind of cybersecurity software is used? Does that security involve Albert sensors? The name Albert spelled A-L-B-E-R-T. If the machines aren't online, then do we need cybersecurity at the tune of $57,600? And finally, Resolution 15 on voting machines. What special election is happening in February 2024? Why is it happening? When, where, and who's involved? Thank you.
Thank you. Ed Mackus?
Ed Mackhouse from Buckingham, former teacher. I'd like to talk about, we have a lot of services here. I'd like to know how effective they are and who they go to. Like children and youth, how many, for $25,000, how many youth are helped? For 4B, how many children go shelter services? And the corrections, there's $178,000. How many individuals involved? There was some settlements of, like millions of dollars of settlements, alleged meant inadequate medical care for inmates and things. So how do you, settlements, why the person died, they allege result of inadequate medical care. I think the responsibility depends on teachers, parents, community, friends, and so they settled it. Family could blame that something was done, like one woman complained to her mother that she was going to die or something from withdrawal symptoms. So I don't think drugs are the answer to all the problems. So there's right to know requests. They found out about medical things. There was settlement with Coroner Meredith. I think right to know litigants Jamie Cohen Walker and Megan Brock, maybe you can settle with them. I think we need to settle with them. About the Vietnam War bridges, I think we need to have bridges to bring people together. I know my father served in World War II, and they had a GI Bill to help the veterans. And now I think we had a draft, so everyone had some idea of community service. Now I think that children brought up with entitlement mentality that they deserve college, deserve everything. I think people need to work for it. I think that mandatory education may not be the answer. I think everyone needs to be able to work, and private schools. I think we need to bridges to make people to go together, like for the corrections. I think you need a bridge between the parents, the medical persons, correction people. There's no magic solution to everything, so we're always going to have problems. I don't think drugs are the answer. We should try increase people's faith that they can deal with whatever the situation is, with whatever they have. So God bless everybody, and let's see what we can do to make the country better. Thank you.
Thank you. Beth Curcio.
Beth Curcio, Warminster, Pennsylvania. Tyranny once again has reared its ugly head with the selected officials from the so-called last election. Already they've robbed the citizens of 2 more minutes of free speech, so that's a total of 3 minutes since they first were selected. Until mail-in ballots and machines are gone, we will never have an election that is fair. We are repeatedly asked for town halls so that citizens can participate in what is best for Bucks County. After all, it's their money. They refuse and they ignore the citizens. They ran on not raising taxes, and that's the first thing they did. Mr. Harvey, you were asked about Agenda 2030, which is a globalist agenda to rule the entire world, the one world government. Vision 2040 you said you didn't know anything about it. Vision 2040 sounds like a different twist on the truth, with plenty of pictures of Bucks County to hide what's really going on. I do not trust any of you fiscally with the taxpayer money. You have proven that in the last couple of years. $400,000 for a luxury van to pick up people to go on job interviews that doesn't even include a new staff, maintenance, and gas. What kind of return on investment is that for the taxpayer? If you're going to waste their money, use Uber or Bucksmont Transportation. Why is this the taxpayer's burden? How many NARCAMs did taxpayers get for $1 million? Maybe that was a little excessive. Why is the taxpayer paying outside firms to sue moms for winning rights to know? You were ordered to pay, I think, about $1,500 each for acting in bad faith. Did you pay that, or are you above the law? You are responsible to the citizens, yet you continue to take the rights away. You claim it was cheaper to hire more lawyers to work for the county, but did you really figure in the benefit cost, the pension cost to the taxpayer? Is it true that you can get a county pension for just putting in 10 years? Do you realize that the private sector doesn't get pensions anymore? Very large corporations stopped them years ago because it was unaffordable over the long run. Companies like AT&T, Independence Blue Cross Blue Shield. In this county and the surrounding counties, are you aware the average house is now $400,000, and in Warminster, taxes are already about $5,500 on a 3-bedroom house? Yet you feel it's okay to raise the taxes in this horrible times of runaway inflation called Bidenomics. Maybe dump the DEI program and save money along with the phony global warming crap. When Al Gore was born in 1948, we had the same amount of glaciers that we have today. Commissioners, just because you use the conspiracy theory crap doesn't make it true. The last couple of years you have proved that. Claiming meetings got so heated you needed armed security. What a joke. I've never seen or witnessed any citizen going after a county employee. And yes, I will leave after all the comments because I have other things to do and I don't need to listen to you gaslight me. I want to remain a citizen of the United States of America. I do not want to be a global citizen where I'm tracked, traced, and have lost all my God-given freedoms and liberties. People all over the world are waking up to what has truly been going on. You are corrupt, and it all comes out. It will all come out because the truth always does.
Andy Warren. Morning.
Madam Chairwoman, congratulations.
Thank you.
I would guess. First and foremost, I want to commend all three of you. The Vietnam Bridge Program is precisely the type program where you should speak as one voice. That's wonderful, and I commend all three of you for doing that. The proclamation was quite good for the women or the employees who work it. They do hard. The trafficking is an issue. It was probably from, now back to the three of you again, one of the most hypocritical proclamations I have ever seen in over 30 years of attending meetings like this. I think in the proclamation it said, trafficking is a borderless crime. It absolutely is. And if we write it in the proclamation, you three are the most influential elected officials in Bucks County. You can do more than one time a year speak up against what is a major cause of this, an open border in southern United States. Today's item agenda, item 7E, there's no dollars attached, county dollars attached. Does that mean that Doylestown is not getting the fees, or that the fees for this project are being paid by another program other than Bucks County tax dollars? Item 7G. 3 weeks ago today, on item 8A, there was a $2 million agenda item to this very company to do this very same thing for at least 6 months of the money that's here. What, with this $135,000 going to the Philadelphia firm, what happened in the 3 weeks that we found this? The last one was item 16A. Was there any other source of money for the that program? It seemed to me a couple weeks ago there was funding from another source. Thank you.
Thank you. Robert McLean? Robert McLean, I'm sorry.
Good morning. I'd like to commend Commissioner Harvey for the honoring of the Vietnam dead, and it wasn't always that way. I can recall those days. So, moving on, I have a matter of concern relating to your recent reduction of public comment time. You have reduced the opportunity of concerned citizens for redress, and you appear to have eschewed the reading of Holy Scripture according to local news outlets. I stand here 100 feet away from a statue in your lobby of Moses holding the Ten Commandments, and I stand in a county formed in 1682 by William Penn, who issued in 1701 the Charter of Privileges, which was the model for our Pennsylvania Constitution. The first privilege of this charter reads, "Because no people can be truly happy, though under the greatest enjoyment of civil liberties, if abridged of the freedom of their consciences as to their religious profession and worship, and Almighty God being the only Lord of conscience, Father of lights and spirits, and the author as well as object of all divine knowledge, faith and worship, who only doth enlighten the minds and persuade and convince the understandings of people. I do hereby grant and declare that no person or persons inhabiting in this province or territories who shall confess and acknowledge one Almighty God, the Creator, upholder and ruler of the world, and profess him or themselves obliged to live quietly under the civil government shall be in any case molested or prejudiced in his or their person or estate because of his or their conscientious persuasion or practice, nor be compelled to frequent or maintain any religious worship, place, or ministry contrary to his or their mind, or to do or to suffer any other act or thing contrary to their religious persuasion. And that all persons who also profess to believe in Jesus Christ, the Savior of the world, shall be capable to serve this government in any capacity, both legislatively and executively, he or they solemnly promising when lawfully required." I believe that you took that oath, and the wisdom of Holy Scripture is the foundation of government. It is a grave mistake to suppress the reading of the Word of God in public when such emphasis on God was made by William Penn, and that God himself created government and ordained it to reward the good and to be a terror to evil.
Thank you. I'll try to go through these things from the ones I can answer, then turn to staff. First of all, our policy doesn't say anything about religion. You can say anything you want at the microphone. The second thing is we follow the law with elections. We follow the exact law. For those who were asking, there is an election in Falls Township on February 15th. Oh, that's right, it's 140th, not just Falls Township. It's Representative Galloway's seat, so it is a special election, and that's what we are preparing for. The cybersecurity issue doesn't have anything to do with elections, and I'm not sure that we should talk about cybersecurity in public anyway. In terms of corrections, there was a question about how many people are benefiting from the program, and I'm just going to try to read that to you. So there are 32 classes for decisions for living. There's 20 for tutoring for men and women for other decisions of living. There is job readiness. There's 18 courses. Job fair preparedness, there's 72. Preparation for employment, there's 20 classes on hope and heart. For basic GED, we do 144 sessions, and for the high school equivalency test, there are 60 sessions. I think I got everything that I needed to say. I was going to ask Ms. McKevitt if she wants to answer the questions about the DART, the Lower Bucks Government Service Center, and workforce investment.
All of those funding sources are through the federal government. And for the DART, which is the Diversion Assessment Treatment Center in Doylestown Township, these are the fees to start to work on the NPDES permit. Is that right? Yeah. Through the Conservation District. I'm sorry, source of the money funding is federal.
You got the Lower Bucks government.
Same thing.
Okay, and just one quick, Ms. Neff, can you kind of give an estimate of how many children would be served by Adelphi Village and Forget-Me-Not?
Yes, Commissioner. So right now, my understanding is we have one individual at Adelphi through JPO, and we're actually reducing our contract with Forget-Me-Not in Philadelphia because we'd have had a reduction of number of children that we've had to place there through CNY.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions from board members or comments? Oh, Gail, you could do that. You could talk a little bit about what Clear Ballot does before, and the other question was what they do after the election. I wonder where I wrote that down.
Thank you, Commissioner. The question was about Clear Ballot and what are pre-ballot activities and post-election support. Since the Act 77 and using Clear Ballot, the commissioners via the Board of Elections has always chosen to bring Clear Ballot staff on site the day of an election. It began with the last presidential, and what they do is provide technical support should our BOE staff need it. So if there's a recount, we bring them in. When we're creating the ballot, we bring them in. They come in for logic and accuracy testing. So, but the size of Bucks County being the 4th largest county in the state, I think our Board of Elections has always thought it prudent to have staff on, the vendor staff on site, because exercising one rights, right to vote is a constitutional right, both in the federal government and in the state constitution. So we take it seriously.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments from the board? Okay, is there a motion to approve the minutes from the January 2nd, 2024 reorganization meeting, the minutes from the January 3rd regular meeting, as well as items 1 through 17 on the consent agenda? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And moving to the regular agenda, is there a motion to approve the budget adjustments 29 through 35? And any questions, actually? Is there a motion first?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions for Mr. Buscola on this? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Personnel elections, is there a motion to approve the personnel actions for today?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Board appointments, Commissioner Harvey, do you have
Sure.
introduce them?
To the Bucks County Community College Authority, a 5-year term. Carolyn Shaw Dorf is a new appointment. Term will end 1/1/2029. I'll make a motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye. For the Bucks County Industrial Development Authority, a 5-year term, Mr. David Stoller. This is a new appointment. Term will end 1/1/2029. I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
A question. This is the Industrial Development Authority?
Correct.
Making a motion for Dave Stoller?
Correct.
I'm going to be recorded as a no, and the reason I'm going to be no on this is no reflection on Dave Stoller. I do not know him, but the person who is now in that position, his name is Barry Fleck, has indicated to me that he would like to be reappointed. I'm not going to make a motion to reappoint him, but I'm going to be a no on this. From every indication, Barry has done an outstanding job over the last 5 years on the IDA, and he wanted to be reappointed, so would like to be recorded as a no on that appointment.
Thank you. I would agree, and I thank Barry for his service, and second Commissioner Harvey's motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
Okay.
For the Bucks County Library Board, we had one member who stepped down early, so we are appointing Linda Goodwin to finish the term of Kathleen Moeller-Pfeiffer. Her term will end, Ms. Goodwin's term will end 11/1/2025.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. Other civics, we have 3 today. Advocates for the Homeless and Those in Need for $1,500. African American Museum of Bucks County, $2,500. And the Kin Wellness and Support Center, $1,500. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Chief Operating Officer.
Thank you, Commissioner. I just wanted to mention, I just wanted to say thank you to our general services staff for taking care of the county buildings every day, but especially during the snowstorm yesterday. They did a great job keeping us all safe. I also want to thank our 24/7 staff in corrections, in the nursing home, security, and 911 for making sure operations continued in a manner in which we're accustomed to, especially in weather events like yesterday. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Solicitor's report.
Thank you, Commissioner. 2 items to report. The board held its standing executive session yesterday, January 16th, with staff and legal counsel to discuss personnel matters pending litigation and to receive confidential legal advice. Additionally, the board held an executive session on January 3rd with legal counsel present to discuss personnel matters, labor negotiations, and pending litigation. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Commissioners' comments. Commissioner DiGirolamo?
No comments today, Madam Chair?
Harvey.
Sure, thank you. Want to thank, as I said earlier, Public Information as well as General Services, Veterans Affairs, and Planning Commission for the work they did and continue to do for the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Bridge Program. Looking forward to doing more this year and continuing that work. Obviously, a lot of names a lot of people to honor over the next several years, but we want to make sure we're doing it right. And so we're not going to rush through things, make sure we're doing it properly and making sure we're also trying to prioritize veterans who may have families still in the area so that they can be there for this ceremony. One of the people who from Middletown, I believe had his mother was still living. She was close to 100, or she had turned 100. She wasn't able to make it, but they were connecting her through social media, through like video cameras at the site to where she was so that she could see everything that was happening in honor of her son who she lost over 50 years ago. So I appreciate all that work. So, obviously this is a presidential election year, and us, Bucks County being the largest swing county and one of the largest swing states, we're anticipating a lot of attention at the national level eventually, once things start settling out in terms of the election. I would expect sometime in the summer or fall, the major candidates from both parties will certainly be here. There's a big Senate election too. I would expect both candidates to make stops in Bucks County, and obviously congressional election and state representative elections. I didn't spend a lot of time watching any results from the Iowa caucus a couple nights ago, but one of the things I thought was interesting, I always saw it because it interrupted the Eagles game, I think it was during halftime, was ABC News sort of announcing that Donald Trump had won the Iowa caucus, which was not really a surprise, but on their exit polling, they noted that about 3/4 of the people who were voting, members of the Republican Party who had voted, did not believe that Joe Biden was fairly elected president of the United States in 2020. It is, probably if this country is going to fail and dissolve, it will be because of attitudes like that. It'll be because of blatant ignorance of fact that has been put forward by the FBI, showing this Justice Department in the United States, showing that, and even the former Attorney General under Donald Trump, Mr. Barr, who came out and said, as have many others who worked in the Trump administration, they had zero evidence of any voter fraud in 2020, that it was simply a tactic of the former president to undermine the democracy in this nation so that he could maintain power. I'm very proud of the work our Board of Elections does, and our Board of Elections is not unique, quite frankly, around this country. Counties run elections in this nation, and there are people all across the United States of America in blue states and red, in blue counties and red, who work very hard to take their jobs very seriously and who run free and fair elections constantly. It is what sets us apart from many nations. But there are serious cracks in the foundations of this country, and it's spread by disinformation and by people too willing to believe what they want instead of believing fact. And so I'm certainly hoping as we enter into this year, we've already heard the conspiracy theories starting, it's only the second meeting of the year. I know they will intensify, and it is not something that will is not something that bodes well for the future of this country. I am hopeful, especially with the younger generation, that they are more discerning in how they view information that they receive. We know they're more understanding, more accepting of people who are different than them, and so hopefully we'll rely on them and lean on them to keep this country on the right path. So, thank you.
Thank you. Is there a motion for?
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.